If you're just starting Oxygen Not Included and feeling overwhelmed, you're in the right place. With over 600 hours in this challenging space colony sim, I'll guide you step by step through everything from picking the best duplicants to setting up your colony and managing critical resources like water, toilets, and food. This is the best beginner's guide to Oxygen Not Included. Welcome to Oxygen Not Included. So let's just get straight to the point here. We're going to start off on a new game here. Now there are two game modes, so you can choose between survival or no sweat. If you were to go for no sweat, then you will have an easier time essentially, but we're just going to simply go for the survival mode, nothing too complicated. So you can choose between standard or the lab here. So this map is a little bit strange, a tilted world at once strange and strangely familiar. So this is just an alternative, if you would say so. We're just going to go for standard. Now again, you have even more options here for Oxygen Not Included. You can choose your asteroid. However, the default asteroid is just this one right here. This world is stable and has no unusual features. So the starting asteroid Terra here. There are a bunch of story traits here. We're just going to go for everything enabled and keep everything else the same. So you can also choose to change any game settings here if you would like to. But again, just default. So then we will start the game. So you get to choose between 3 characters, and this is an important phase of the game because this will determine how productive your colony is and how it features itself. So if you were to go into the reroll here, you can change the type of duplicant the reroll button will produce. So if we were to get this here now, we can choose between a bunch of skills. However, the most important is a researcher. So we're going to get one of those, and then you can choose between either a digger or a builder. I would like a digger. And then for the last one, you can go for another digger or a builder. All the other skills you can get because future duplicants, you will be able to get more people from a little pod every 3 days or so. So these are just your starting duplicants. You will always be able to get more, but digging is important, building too, and researching. And now you will see that we get interests here. So this one right here has building +9 construction. You can see plus 225 construction speed. So we want to get someone like this who has only one interest that they can main into with a high skill, a high construction skill in that skill, for example. And then you got some traits as well. So the positive traits aren't too detrimental. However, you want to watch out for some bad traits. I will show you. There's also a stress reaction for if your duplicants get too sad. Then they will vomit, for example. And overjoyed means that, for example, they will become a sparkle streaker. I think they will be more productive. For example, we have Ruby here, one of the best duplicants here. Look at this science here. However, the problem is that, or not really a problem, she gets diver's lungs, which means that she consumes less oxygen. However, bottomless stomach means that they consume more food. They need more food. However, we're going to try this out because she's not so bad. So I think I've picked a few good duplicants here. We've got Shisado here, as you've seen. We got Matthew with +7 in excavation here, so digging speed and attack damage. Quick learner, so what is this? Skill leveling is faster. And then Silver, a pretty good builder here with a few good traits. So now we shall embark. Now then, here we are in our little starting biome. We're just going to begin right here and see. Now just pause the game at the start and we're going to go into priorities here. So the priority tab is a bit important. First of all, I do not want anyone to cook for now. We will try to get a dedicated cook. Not super important. And also, we only want Shisado, the researcher, to research. So if you want to change the priorities of everyone, you have to click the dots here and go for disallowed. Attacking could be a little bit important, just so you can get rid of creatures faster. There will be a few creatures that you will need to kill. However, Silver here, as you can see, good at building, so you will be doing building. I'm going to do that, set that to very high priority. By left clicking, you can change it. Left clicking changes it higher and right clicking changes it to lower. So something like this for now should be alright. And then the schedule is alright for now. And everything else is fine, but we will simply get started. For now, we're just going to start off by digging. This will be the beginning of almost any game now. So 64 tile rooms here. What we want to get is a lot of resources. We can get a pitcher pump, get some water. We we need outhouses, so they can use the bathroom. And we also want to get some bedrooms, so let's just get them digging. Yes, everybody, let's go. Now we have some fresh water right here, so we will simply be using that. For now, the pitcher pump will just be at the surface of the water. And then to the right here, would have liked to build the bathrooms right here, but there's a bit of water in the way, so we'll just have to build it up here. So all of that is coming in, so now we need a few ladders you can descend and ascend. I like to make the ladder system like this because in the future you will get some firearm poles. So I like to make the ladder system like this because in the future you will get some fire poles. You can replace that here so you descend faster, and then you will get some transit tubes so you can travel really fast. But for now, just a 3 wide gap like this, digging up. Perfect. So we shall get everything down. First of all, on outhouse, you will also see that we have a lot of crops here. So what we could do is get to the harvesting tool by pressing Y and simply dragging that over. So the duplicants will automatically harvest any ready food. Anyway, so we want to get down a door here. We're going to simply wall all of this in. And now we want to get some plumbing down. For now, we're simply going to get 2 wash basins and 2 outhouses. The important thing with room sizes here is if you were to go into the room overlay on the top right here, you can see that we have a latrine. So what this does is you get a morale effect, which keeps duplicants happy. The maximum size is 64 tiles. We want to make sure that it's enclosed in 64 tiles, so that should be about right. And then to the right here, we're simply going to mine out our little cots. We also have a bunch of oxygen to start with because of the oxalite here. It's like a temporary source of oxygen, however, it will deplete by itself. There is no downside to mining out the oxalite because it will still output the same amount of oxygen. So just mine that out, rebuild. Eventually these cells will dissipate once the oxygen is depleted out of the oxalite. So you will have like these floating beds. So we just want to replace the tiles there, as you can see. And as you can see here, we have a barracks here and we have a latrine. The morale bonuses are immense, +2 morale. The reason is because morale here means that if they have lower morale than they should have, then they will become stressed, which is, well, almost always bad. Anyways, with all of this done, we're going to simply start up the next phase, which is researching. We want to go into stations here, get a research station, and then we want to plop that down alongside 2 batteries in the power section, and then a manual generator as well, and then hook that up with some wires right there. Now this is where Shisado comes in, the handy researcher, because we will be progressing quite fast with her. While you're waiting, we're going to keep all the doors open. I guess not to the cots here because we have some shine bugs here which will disturb sleep, but it decreases the time when they open the doors. Another thing is with the wash basins here, they will only wash their hands now if they travel out of the washroom here, because duplicants need to wash their hands, otherwise they get some food poisoning germs. You always have to wash your hands after the bathroom, that's for sure. Matthew, Silver will all construct this little thing, so now we have the research tab. This is going to be overwhelming at the start, so you can check all of this out, but we're going to focus on food because food is the #1 priority of life. We want to go for basic farming up to meal preparation, so just click that and then they will automatically get started. So Silver, she will generate some power with the manual generator, and then what will happen is that the research station here needs some dirt. Shisado will start researching here and then we can leave that be. While we're idling for that, we're going to get like a dinner hall, like a mess hall, because they will need somewhere to eat. This is the phase when you will do a lot of mining because there is a lot of resources to be had on the map. By simply doing something like this, 64 tile rooms, we will automatically start mining and then clearing out some areas for future projects. The printing pod here is where we get new duplicants, so I believe every 3 cycles we get a new duplicant. You can also go into the colony summary here where you can get a bunch of achievements. You can see your progress. I love seeing my progress of the colony. However, there is nothing now because we're still on day #1. For now, you're going to notice that oxygen is not so bad, but in the future, we will have to worry more about that. We want to make sure to dig to access all the potential food on the starting biome. So, finished researching the first thing, and as you can see, we've sped up the game a bit, but now it's already done. We always want to be researching here, so the next one we're going to go for is advanced research. We also get the water cooler here, which will be very useful. Once they're done digging, they're going to harvest the food here automatically, depending on how you've set the priorities. We have almost 20,000 kilocalories of food. Each duplicant here by default consumes 1,000 calories a cycle, so this would be 19 divided by 3 would be like 6 days of food. However, we're going to get a bunch once we progress further. However, next to the little mess hall here, we're going to have a simple little kitchen. What you want to do is place down a door next to the mess hall, the dining hall. We want to place down a few of these ration boxes to store the food. And what will happen is that eventually this little pocket here will be filled with carbon dioxide. If you go into the overlays here, you will see that we have a bunch of carbon dioxide because as humans, we exhale carbon dioxide. And in carbon dioxide, the food will spoil slower. So this will accumulate here carbon dioxide. We can also unlock refrigerators later to further slow down food spoilage. We can also deconstruct the original ration box that you start off with. Also, the reason we have the research station close to the printing pod is because there is an automatic light bonus here. And duplicants, they do work 15% faster in light. So once that is done, we're going to work on our little dining hall. So we're going to go into the furniture section here, get a mess table. And you want to just place some mess tables down in your room and then a water cooler in the middle or somewhere. The reason for that is because we want to get the bonus of a great hall here. That would be +6 morale, which means almost no stress in the early game. As they level up their skills here, they have a few skills. They will require more morale need. However, if you were to, for example, go into here, you will see that their interest that we started off with, you can pick their interests here. The ones with the heart, if you were to pick them, means that their morale need would be increased, but the morale bonus, because they like the job, would also be increased. So it's like a neutrality. But if they were to go for something else, then the morale need would be increased. But because they don't like it, it doesn't get offset here. For example, here morale +3, but morale need +6. So if it was something else, then it would be worse. You want to level up their interests, preferably. Now, after researching advanced research, which will be the next tier of research, we're going to simply research artistic expressions here to get that great hall that I was talking about. And again, we're a bit idle, so we're going to dig a bit more for resources, get all this oxygen over here and all this juicy food. Duplicants here, they can jump down 2 tiles, no problem. So this would be fine right here, but 3 tiles is a bit too high. They can also jump 1 tile like this in between, but not 2 tiles like that. You will also notice that we have a lot of items on the ground, but personally, items on the ground, they can stay there. A lot of people, they will get storage bins and collect all of this stuff. I mean, you can do that because that will increase the decor. However, I like to do that later on because we want to save on time. If you were to build some sculptures, which we get in the future, you will get a lot of decor from that, and decor increases morale. As you can see, there was a bunch of carbon dioxide there, so now we're going to get a more oxygen. However, the printing pod is available, so you click on that, choose a blueprint, and now it will be a randomized set of dupes or items. So we do have Stinky here. He's good at operating, which is essentially managing machines. He does have decreased machinery here, but in the future, someone like him could actually be alright. He's actually not too shabby. We'll just embark him here. Welcome aboard, Rook. You will also notice that in this biome, we have a creature here called a hatch. If you wanted to, you can kill them for food, for meat, if you're running low on food, but I don't think you will be running low on food. However, all this carbon dioxide is starting to pile up, so to simply have that gone, you can temporarily build deeper and the carbon dioxide will simply flow to the deeper levels of the base. Again, for this man, we will go into priorities and we will change that. I want him to do operating, which is what he's good at, and he was also a good researcher, so why not? We can also go into skills here. Once you embark a new dupe onto your colony, they will start off with 1 skill. So you want to select that dupe and then go for their interests here. So this man would like mechatronics engineering, so for now go for improved tinkering. As they experience the game, you will see that they will get more experience, which you will have to assign them. Always want to be up to date with their skills, because then you're colony becomes more productive. So we've got interior decor. What we can place down now is a flower pot, 1 and 2. I want to try to get some of these flowers, like Bluffbriar is a flower, and then there is another one right there. We will wait for that right now and let them, construct. We have a few biomes nearby that we have to worry about later. We have like a slime swamp biome here. We'll have to deal with that. There's another one right there. Temperature management is also another part of the game, but for now 22 Celsius is nice and chill. So now we can go to the room overlay. This is a mess hall. At the moment we plant a flower in there. We're going to get a great hall. Here we go. So now we're going to see here that we do have a great hall. So morale will be significantly higher. More research to be needed. So as you can see, we've got supercomputers and everything. But for now, what I would like to research is, for example, maybe a refrigerator can do that. But we want some power. So we're going to go for coal power, which is over here. Power in the power section. Go for internal combustion. We could also go for sound amplifiers for smart batteries. Why don't we go all the way there? It will need some advanced research, which you need from a supercomputer. So we're going to simply get one of those, place that down near the light, make sure that is there, and then hook that up to the power system. Another thing we can do now, if we wanted to, we still have a lot of oxygen, but we can go to the oxygen tab here, get an oxygen diffuser, which will produce oxygen from the algae in the surrounding terrain, because we have a lot of algae here that you can mine out. Now, even though it says 200 kilos here, almost. If you were to dig this out, it would become half the mass. Every time you dig out a tile, you only get half the resources, so keep that in mind. We also need another cot for Rook. Now you will see here that for the supercomputer, we lack advanced research skill, which is bad. However, Shisado here will soon level up, so if we go into skills here, soon level 1, and then we can get the advanced research. What we want to worry about now is probably getting like a water tank. I like to get a water tank, so we can just have all the water in one place. It is a little bit obtrusive right now. It's a bit in the way, you know. So now that we only have 2 outhouses and 2 wash basins, problem is that if they were to overlap, like they all want to go to the toilet at the same time, they might pee themselves. So we want to go into the schedule tab here and then add a new schedule, and then we want to simply shift down the downtime so it is right about right here. Now it doesn't really overlap that much, and we can move 2 duplicants over here, so Rook and Silver. And again, you just want to get more resources, so more digging, because there's a lot of, if you were to look into some tiles here, there are buried objects. So here can be food, can be like one of those hatches, those animals, so any resources is useful. So that's why you want to keep on digging. We are the miners. Also, I think if I get like a ceiling light here, since I have 2 science buildings here, I can go to the laboratory room bonus here, so we'll be able to research faster, I believe. Oh, I cannot have industrial machinery, so I think I have to get rid of the generator. Have to place that outside. Here we go. Now we have a laboratory, as you can see. I'm just going to place the manual generator outside of the room, hook that up to some power, and we're fine. Now, if you were to go into here, Shisado earned a skill points, as I said. Advanced research, which means +2 science points, so she will be more productive, and supercomputer usage. I think I would like to mine out our water tank here. Just have that over with, so let's plan that out. So I think I will have it right down here, 2 rows below everything else. We're simply going to plan that out. Something like this for now should be fine. Ladders everywhere, so all the water will accumulate in this tank. However, there's not a lot of oxygen down here, so duplicants will have to hold their breath and come up to breathe. There's also a lot of carbon dioxide accumulating here, so if we were to target that, we can see here. Okay, we don't actually have any food that spoils, so that's nice. We'll have a lot of food to work with, but you always want to harvest available food sources. A lot of people are getting skill points, so just again want to select the ones they have interest in, and if you want to, you can assign them a hat, which makes them look quite good. Silver here, the constructionist, Bob the builder. So a bristle blossom here is quite the food source. We're going to harvest that thing. Someone should harvest that. Actually, I might increase farming priority, because that is important. important that we have food. We don't have a dedicated farmer, so for now, high priority. Anyways, research complete on sound amplifiers, so I want to get down a proper sanitation systems with plumbing and everything. So sanitation here. And then we need distillation for a water sieve, and then maybe decontamination. Oh, we have a bristle blossom here. Please sweep. You can also decide to change priorities. So if you decide that one thing is more important than the other, you can simply select with the P button here, and for example 7 priority on the lavatories because you will have to maintain that. Maybe you want this to be quicker, then you can increase their priority. So the highest priority is 9, which is most urgent, and a 1 is least urgent here. So light blue and then dark red for urgency. Anyways, new printing pods. Do we have anyone good? You kind of want to be a little bit careful with who you decide to choose, because if you choose too many dupes and you cannot maintain the oxygen and food production in the colony, then you will die of starvation or, I don't know, no oxygen. So you want to be careful with getting too many dupes. Unless you're good at the game, then you can maintain a lot of dupes early on. However, actually getting a cook would be nice. So nails here. Even though a kitchen menace, but I still think it's +6 in cuisine. So welcome aboard, Siren. Priorities here, you're going to be doing a lot of cooking. We can actually get a grill down for you. Okay, what is happening here? Allergic reaction. So I believe we picked a dupe that is allergic to fluorescent here, which comes from the bristle blossom. So that will be a bit annoying. Anyways, the problem with outhouses here is that your duplicants will have to clean them. Lovely job. Lovely job. Yeah, poor Shisado hearing us cleaning that out, but that is exactly why we want to replace all of that. So keep on researching. Our little water tank here. I'm getting some mesh tiles. This is a tile that does not obstruct liquid or gas flow. Also, Siren, you can get into grilling. How about that? I guess we can expand upon the kitchen soon. The problem is that we need a better power source than what we have now, because that will require power. Wow, we are so quick with progressing now, and it's only like, what, day number 8? Cycle 8, so we are quite productive. Suffocating. Yeah, so this will actually happen more often than you think, where your duplicants will get stuck at some place and then start to suffocate, which is, well, deadly. So you need to prioritize deconstructing at a yellow priority, and then Matthew should be fine. Yeah, here we go. So the water tank is officially done. So we're not going to overcomplicate things. All we have to do is direct water flow into here. So digging right here and right there should get all the water in the tank. We will have to get some ladders to access that. Should be fine. And now the water. Ah, yes, as you can see. You need to be careful with this though. You don't want to overflow the base. Shisado is getting quite a shower, but you have to be careful with dupes in water because it does increase stress. However, since our morale is so damn high, they do not care. More research. We're done with distillation, decontamination. I would actually like to get a smart battery here. The problem is that this structure right here requires refined metals, so we're going to research brute force refinement. The reason I want a smart battery is because it's way more efficient than a jumbo battery. You will see why. And then we want to get this flow of water. So all we have to do is make sure it doesn't end up here. We block all of this off, and we simply have to mine out all of this. And another printable we have. Nobody that I would really pick. No. We already have operating, and to be honest, all of these things are not the best. Doctoring isn't really that useful if I'm honest. So sandstone, if you wanted to, you can disable this building if you don't want any printables. However, with redirected water flow, we can tidy up the base a bit. So now we have all the research that we basically need. I can just get refrigerators if I want to store the food better, and now we're going to work on this. However, we also need food, so I'm going to do a simple little farm. I'm going to wait for coal generators, so deconstruct all of this, and then for now, coal generators like that, or like this, and then with the storage bin for coal. So for the food system, you want a farm tile here, and then you want to leave 2 tiles of space above. We have something like this, and once you've got the farm tiles, what we want is mealwood. All this requires is dirt, and that the temperature and pressure here is adequate, as you can see. Yeah, again, need more food, so you just want to expand into all the areas with food. Literally anything that you can find, like over here. More duplicant skills, so again, electrical engineering. And And yeah, we're going to get some refined metals, so a rock crusher. Hook that up to some power. Also want to get a grill eventually, so place all of this down. Oxygen in the base is good because of the oxygen diffuser. Food is a little bit iffy, but it should be stabilizing. With a rock crusher, we have a lot of copper ore in the starting biome, so you just want to refine maybe. If we do 10 orders, then we get 500 kilos. So this is good because now we have a good operator, which is Rook, and he will be doing that real quick. Yep. Okay, so we have another good duplicant here. We have another digger. He will become a good miner. A super productive, so good overjoyed response. Welcome aboard, Garlene. You again, priorities digging is good, and also do building. And then assign the skill again and move on. Now mealwood will grow real quick, and if we were to select the electrical rill here, you can see that we can fry basically everything. So mushrooms, gristleberries forever. Pickled meal will be our main source of food for now. Can also get some airflow tiles in the base because eventually airflow will be a party. You can do that later if you want to with the airflow tiles. More colony achievements are being earned. Nice. So now we can get a smart battery. If you want to deconstruct the old one, place that down, and you will also have to hook up some automation wires here, which we actually don't have researched. I need smart home. So now we have a stable base, food, water. Eventually all of that will run out, but you can get some more water here. You can purify the polluted water, and smart home. So go into automation here, and you want to hook up some automation wires just like this. So what this will do is the generators hooked up to the automation wires, the smart battery will send a signal. At default, the high threshold is 100, but we're going to put that at 80 and 30. Just a little buffer. So once the power falls below 30%, then the coal generators will work. So it preserves the coal more efficiently. Everything is just more efficient with that thing. Anyways, now the whole plumbing system. So we want a liquid pump in our water pipe. We want a liquid pump in the water tank. And you want to hook that up with some piping. I need to replace all of this real quick, because otherwise they're going to pee themselves. Do we have enough time? I think so. Here we go. Because you cannot place these pipes into natural tiles, then they will just dig the natural tiles out. And then we're going to place down lavatories like this. You can pre-place all the pipes like that, and then the output pipe into the roof. I like to keep things hidden into the tiles because of decor, but it doesn't really matter that much. We've got some polluted oxygen in here. That is definitely not good. I will probably get a deodorizer in there to filter out the air. Let's just do that real quick. You will need power for all of this. After the plumbing, you will need to convert the polluted water because, well, we produce piss and waste. With a water sieve, we can turn that straight back into clean water. Place that thing down. Then the output of the lavatories and the sinks, which will be dirty water, goes into the input of the water sieve because the input needs polluted water. Then the output of the water sieve will be clean water, which will be recycled. However, there will be a slight excess of polluted water. All you have to do is run this pipe here, and you can either dump the excess polluted water, or what I like to do is get it into a thimble reed here because they actually require polluted water. However, for now, we're just going to dump it into a small tank. We don't have a lot of space here. We have a damn steam geyser here. Yeah, for now, no research. We need to have more production. We're actually running low on food. However, harvest of mealwood will be incoming. After this, we'll do a bit more mining. Another problem you have to worry about is that these wires here have a potential load max of 1000 watts. You can overload the wires. You will have to watch out for that. In the future, you can upgrade the wires with tech. You'll be able to unlock different wires. All the polluted oxygen here is gone, so we can get some refrigerators to store the food. And as you can see here, we have got the harvest of meal lice coming in. So now we have a bunch of food, and that will be turned into food, and hopefully there's a chance for there to be more seeds so we can increase our output of food. Anyways, output of this. Anyways, this is a good setup for now. Siren here grilling level 2. The chef, let her cook. We're running a bit low on food, so we just need to get to digging. However, you want to go into medicine here. 4 sinks and 4 lavatories is nice. Hook that up, and then we will hook up the piping here, and the water will be flowing in, so that will enter everything here. Now this this will be a little bit messed up. Just have to do something like this. Disconnect, hook that up, and it will come into the little water sieve here, the polluted water. That will be turned into clean water, as you can see, and will be recycled. So we have a proper lavatory system here. We go into colony summary. We've got a bunch of them. Royal flush. Okay, bunch of achievements. So yeah, we have got lavatories, water, food. If you're also going to diagnostics here, we can check the breathability here. Oh, okay. Now I know why we have a lot of polluted oxygen. We have a bunch of polluted water here on the ground. That is bad, yeah. We can get another oxygen diffuser, and we can keep on researching now. So maybe ranching, because that is also a good food source. We get these little hatches that we saw from earlier, and then we breed them. But as you can see, look how much food. Look how much food. Muckroot is buried into the ground here, like this, and that is so much food. So if you're running low on food, you need to mine. Oh, I would also like a nature reserve. That is something important. Just more morale. So where is that? And also search up nature reserve. Okay, park sign. Right. Oh, we already have it. Right here. A nature reserve. Again, not really any dupes that I would like to have. Suffocating. Ah, silver. Okay, you need to come up here and deconstruct that. Here we go. Fine. Now we have a nature reserve here, so morale is immensely high. But yeah, that is essentially my beginner's guide for oxygen not included. Only cycle 19, and we have all of this up. So this is a pretty good colony, I would say. Good start. However, there's a lot more to this game. A lot. But I hope you at least got some value to start off with the beginning and everything. Just to get going, because that's the most important. You would have to get exosuits or something, or not really to explore the slime biome. You would need to clean the air and such, and then dig into the oil biome for the mid-game, because oil equals plastics. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.